Hey, I'm Gary Hughes with Dead Air Silencers and MOD Outfitters, and we wanted to bring out from the vault today one of my favorite rifles. This is a what's commonly referred to in the AK community as a Khyber Pass variant. That could really mean anything. The Khyber Pass term gets thrown around a lot, and so a lot of people don't really know what that means. In general, if you say a Khyber Pass variant in this country, what it means is a side-folding AKM, a side-folding AK-74. It can mean anything. If you look at the Khyber Pass region, there's Khyber Pass gunsmiths there that do all sorts of crazy thing with copper wire and baling twine and packy tape and everything else. But in general, if we're talking Khyber Pass rifles in the United States, it means a side-fold stamped sheet metal receiver AK-47. That's pretty much what it means. So this particular rifle, and that's really sort of not something that you can go to a store and buy. It's something that really has to sort of be made, much like it is in the Khyber Pass. What happened in the Khyber Pass was during the Afghan war with the Soviets, they had a lot of AK-47 7.62x39 rifles that had fixed stocks, and they wanted folding stocks, which the Soviets were using the AK-74S or AKS-74 that had a side folding stock. And so what the gunsmiths of the Khyber Pass region did was they sort of blended the two and created a 7.62x39 rifle, which the Mujahideen had access to ammunition for, and created a sort of a hybrid rifle with a stock that would fold, much like the Soviet AK-74. So that was sort of where the term Khyber Pass variant came from. It wasn't really something that was ever made by the Russians. It was something that they created there. It's a pretty cool variant because the stock folds. It creates a very lightweight, very portable, very handy AKM variant in 7.62x39, and to this day, it's still not really something you can buy. It's something you have to sort of build. And MOD Outfitters, which is kind of a side project of Mike Pappas and myself, we built this rifle off of a Romanian Wasser, so a commonly available commercial AKM variant. We cut it up into its parts, retrieved the parts that we wanted to keep, and added the side folding stock, much like was done in Afghanistan in the 80s. So that really kind of a cool sort of retro Afghan era, AKM is what you end up with. So that's a really cool variant with that side folder and makes a very lightweight, great shooting rifle. Now, one of the other things that we've done to this gun is we added a K&S adjustable gas piston. You can see it is equipped with a suppressor, which I'll get into in a second. But you can see this is the K&S Precision Adjustable AK Gas Piston, which allows you to actually tune the gas system on this rifle for use with a suppressor or just to make it flatter shooting, lighter shooting. And I do have some video of this being shot. Very, very stable, very flat shooting rifle for a 7.62x39. This particular one is a post-sample machine gun. We converted it that way to demo the durability of our suppressors. And it is a post-sample machine gun, so that's a really, really fun gun to shoot. Now, as far as the silencer goes, we'll talk about that a little. The silencer is the Dead Air Silencers Wolverine PBS-1. It was made to be an aesthetic clone of the original Soviet PBS-1 silencer. Now, the original Soviet PBS-1 silencer used a wipe. It used a very old silencer technology called a wipe. That was a thick piece of rubber that actually fit into this bulbous section on the rear. And then it had a very simple disc baffle stack. And it was intended strictly for use with subsonic 7.62x39 ammunition. And they were issued to highly specialized troops like the Spetsnaz. At Dead Air Silencers, being AK guys, Mike and myself, we kind of wanted to create a suppressor for off-the-shelf AKs. We wanted to make a silencer you could put on an AK that didn't require any modification to the host rifle and would still sound good and function, which presented a few unique problems. For one, AK barrels, the threads are not concentric to the bore, which is necessary usually for mounting of a silencer. The threads are just put on the outside. The comm block, guns just didn't take that much time to put threads that were concentric to the bore, which means if you put a conventional silencer that requires a concentric bore on an AK, what you're going to end up very quickly with is a very expensive pile of junk with baffle strikes. So we knew that going in, that we were going to be faced with non-concentric threads. So we designed a silencer that did not require concentric threads. The other issue with suppressing AKs is overgassing. AKs are notoriously overgassed. They have a lot more gas in the operating system than they require for operation, and that's one of the things that lends to its legendary reliability. However, when you put a silencer on there, you're lengthening the amount of time that gas is in the system, and it can lead to a somewhat unpleasant shooting experience with gas and noise and everything else coming back in your face. So we already knew going in that we were going to have to create a suppressor that added as little gas as possible back into that system, basically a low back pressure design. So knowing those two challenges, we created the PBS-1. The first issue being non-concentric threads, we accomplished via the use of a tapered bore. The bore of this silencer is not straight cut, it's actually a funnel. It's shaped like a funnel, and this is of course an exaggeration. But what that lets us do is, even on the worst non-concentric threads that we've encountered, you can screw a Wolverine PBS-1 from Dead Air on your gun, shoot it, and not have baffle strikes. In point of fact, I can only recall about 2 silencers that we've had of the thousands of these that we've sold that we've had any kind of baffle strikes on, and those were both easily repairable because they weren't struck very badly. So even with the thousands of them out there on thousands of different guns, very, very little chance of a baffle strike or damage to your suppressor with the Wolverine, which is pretty much unheard of on an AK without a lot of expensive gunsmithing. The next issue was back pressure, the tapered bore, the number of baffles, the spacing. Suffice to say, we worked on it and created a suppressor that has very, very low back pressure while still having very, very good sound reduction, and puts the least amount of gas back into the system that you can get. Now on this particular rifle, we are running the K&S gas piston, and when you run both of those, the Wolverine PBS-1 and the K&S piston together, it creates probably one of the flattest shooting 7.62x39 AKs that I've ever had experience with, and I think we do have some good footage of that. So overall, a very well balanced system, a pretty cool AK variant that has some pretty cool geopolitical history, a very cool silencer, and a pretty cool gun from the vault.